right, I guess I'll be starving today. But in all due seriousness, I want to talk about the book Into the Wild by John Kerr. It's a nonfiction book that he got inspired from an article he wrote for Outside Magazine that revolved around Christopher Johnson McCandless's death. And in the article, he just, stated the facts that there is a body found inside an abandoned bus in the middle of nowhere. And I promise you, this isn't a spoiler considering the book revolves around understanding how Christopher got to his death. And by writing this book, Krakow had to interview the last people that Christopher encountered before his untimely death. And the book basically, honestly, to me, it gives a lot of insight in life because Christopher, from the book and the interviews, he was this guy who was just fed up with the routinely life. Like at home, it seemed like he didn't have a close relationship to his parents, who were all about materialistic things and money and making sure his son would like go off and do some great things with his life. And he didn't want to be shaped. Instead, he went on to travel. He got a backpack, got even burned the cash, and just started traveling. And from his travels, he got to meet a lot of amazing people, and he left them with a lot of insights on life that seem to have stuck to certain characters and even stuck to me because as I was reading the book, I felt like it was really talking to me because I literally relate to Christopher in a way where I feel like I feel like my life is already set up. I wake up, I either go to school and have to like learn, and then I go home and I have to do homework, or I have to go to work and then I just come home and I sleep, and I seem to rarely have time to do things I want to do. So Christopher seemed to have taken action, and he went to go do what he wanted to do. He went to go travel, and traveling is definitely something I would like to do, but the outcome was pretty sad because he ended up passing away at a young age. But overall, I feel like Christopher was a very smart individual who had a lot of opinions on life. And there's one part in the book where he meets this guy named Franz. He's 80 years old, and he like, even though the guy's 80, he gives him this like superb advice to keep living. And I'm gonna read a passage from the book that I really liked. All right, so Ron, I really enjoy all the help you have given me and the times that we spent together. I hope that you will not be too depressed by our parting. It may be a very long time before we see each other again, but providing that I get through this Alaskan deal in one piece, you will be hearing from me again in the future. I'd like to repeat the advice I gave you before, in that I think you really should make a radical change in your lifestyle and begin to boldly do things which you may previously never have thought of doing or been too hesitant to attempt. So many people live within unhappy circumstances and yet will not take the initiative to change their situation because they are conditioned to a life of security, conformity, and conservatism, all of which may appear to give one peace of mind, but in reality, nothing's more damaging to the adventurous spirit with a man than a secure future. The very basic core of a man's living spirit is his passion for adventure. The joy of life comes from our encounters with new experiences, and hence there is no greater joy than to have an endlessly changing horizon, for each day to have a new and different sun. If you want to get more out of life, Ron, you must lose your inclination for monotonous security and adopt a helter-skelter style of life that will at first appear to you to be crazy, but once you become accustomed to such a life, you will see its full meaning and its incredible beauty. And so, Ron, in short, get out of Salton City and hit the road. I guarantee you will be glad you did, but I fear that you will ignore my advice. You think that I am stubborn, but you are even more stubborn than me. You had a wonderful chance on your drive back to see one of the greatest sights on earth, the Grand Canyon, something every American should see at least once in his life. But for some reason, incomprehensible to me, you wanted nothing but to bolt for home as quickly as possible, right back to the same situation which you see day after day after day. I fear you will follow this same inclination in the future and thus fail to discover all the wonderful things that God has placed around us to discover. Don't settle down and sit in one place. Move around, be nomadic, make each day new horizon. You are still going to live a long time, Ron, and it will be a shame if you did not take the opportunity to revolutionize your life and move into an entirely new realm of experience. Ron is in his 80s, and he actually, after he learned that Christopher had passed away, he made sure that he would actually take the dive into life and travel. And honestly, I feel like that is exactly what I needed to hear. Like, I'm scared to come out of my comfort zone, and this book is literally talking to me, telling me to go and travel, and that's exactly what I plan to do after college. I plan to save some money and travel because I don't want to end up dead. But I also really enjoyed the major themes this book revolved around, which discussed materialistic, like, that doesn't necessarily bring happiness. I feel like it's the experiences one has, and also the one, like, they also discussed nature and how to consume it even more. And I've always liked hiking and going to Yosemite, going to Big Sur. I felt like this was the perfect read for me because I relate a lot to Christopher, and even though he passed away at a young age, it feels like the last moments of his life were worth it. So, in all due reality, I feel like this would be a perfect read for any reader at any age who feels like they haven't lived a life, who feels like their daily life is just a routine. Wake up, eat, work, sleep. Wake up, eat, work, sleep. There's just so much more to life. So I definitely recommend for everybody to check out Into the Wild by Jon Krakauer.